Today I will be discussing about guidelines for E&M planning and execution. First of all, I will be discussing general points of planning. Some of the mistakes observed during scrutiny of AEs are as under. The basic input data of electric and water supply, that is electric load and water requirement, is either incorrect or even not found enclosed at times. The unscaled site plans are attached without showing existing and proposed services in different colors. Head loss and voltage drop calculations are not being enclosed. Air conditioning load is not calculated properly, resulting into severe effect on total electric load requirement of the project. The CFEES report for firefighting and CGWB report for bore well are not obtained. Estimates from concerned civil agencies departments are not obtained. AEs are to be priced on ED rates. If item is not available in ED, SSR rates are to be taken. Market rate with quotation or price list is to be considered if not available in SSR also. Contingencies not to be added on deposit work estimates. If AEs are amended at any stage, corresponding amendment in BP is to be carried out without failure. Items beyond scale of accommodation are to be considered as special item of works with separate SOC for the same. Now I will discuss about specific points related to external and internal electrification. Load calculation to be carried out in proper format. All equipment load, that is AC, crane, lift, firefighting, etc., is to be included without failure. Site layout plan as well as schematic line diagram of electrical scheme is to be prepared. If proposed workload cannot be accommodated in contract demand of station, augmentation of power supply is to be included in the same work. VCBs are not to be provided for transformer of capacity less than 1000 kVA. Based on layout plan of electric supply and load calculation, voltage drop calculation is to be done for selection of size of cable. HT cable size is to be selected based on current carrying capacity, fault level and short circuit current rating. Standby power supply load and stabilizer load is to be calculated based on scale of accommodation. Panel design is to be carried out based on incoming and outgoing connections load. Line diagram of substation is to be attached to justify plinth area. If flame proof lighting is not included in plinth area of building, as per type of building, separate schedule for the same is to be prepared. Requirement of new transformers is to be minimized by rationalizing existing transformers. APFC panel of suitable capacity is to be catered as per kVAR calculation. Stepping of capacitor is to be considered such as each integer kVAR requirement can be fulfilled. One example can be taken as 1 plus 2 plus 2 plus 5 plus 10 plus 10 and so on and so forth. Requirement of number and size of lights in hangars, gymnasiums, sports complex, auditorium, etc. is to be calculated on the basis of lux level requirement as per scale of accommodation or user demand and dimensions of the building. Advice of lighting manufacturer may be sought for lighting design. Suitable number and location of DBs are to be taken so as to avoid greater length in point wiring. Now comes the water supply. Water requirement is to be calculated as per scale of accommodation and accommodation statement part 1 provided by the user. For designing the scheme, expansion factor of 100% at source except bore well and shallow well and 50% for distribution system is to be considered. Evaporation losses of 2% may be considered in case of open well storage. Augmentation of water supply is to be considered if new water requirement cannot be fulfilled from existing supply. In principle agreement and estimates are to be obtained from water supply agency before initiating the work. CGWB report is to be attached with AEs in case water supply is proposed through bore wells. Capacity of submersible pump must be based on expected yield and depth of water table given in CGWB report. Site layout plan as well as schematic line diagram of supply and distribution scheme is to be prepared. Total storage capacity, that is UG sump and overhead tank both, is not to exceed 1 day's water requirement. Additional storage capacity may be considered with prior approval of competent financial authority. Frictional head loss calculation including ground level difference is to be carried out for selection of the size of pipe. Residual head of 4 meter is required at the end point. Pump size calculation is to be done based on initial head considered in frictional head loss calculation and LPM required, which is based on total water to be supplied and duration of supply. Gate valves or sluice valves and NRVs are to be considered such that proper segmentation of distribution system is achieved. Line diagram of pump house is to be attached to justify plinth area. Now talking about air conditioning, user data sheet clearly mentioning required range of temperature and humidity, duration of plant running per day, filtration level required and air changes per hour, etc. is to be obtained from user before planning of air conditioning. Separate schedule for authorized and special item of works for AC are to be prepared. Separate statement of case for special item of work is to be enclosed and CFA approval is to be obtained. Calculation of plant size is to be done by thumb rule of 4V plus 5A upon 10,000, where V is volume in cubic feet and A is total surface area, that is 2 into LB plus BH plus HL, where L, B and H are length, breadth and height respectively. Electricity and water requirement of AC plant room is to be considered. Water requirement is to be considered 10 liter per ton per hour. Size of plant room and AHU room is to be calculated considering dimensions of equipment and sufficient space for carrying out repairs. Building estimates for plant room and AHUs are to be prepared by B&R, but cost is to be added in air conditioning schedule. False ceiling may be considered where suitable to reduce air conditioning load. If heavy equipment are to be placed in building to be air conditioned, heat load of equipment is to be calculated in AES itself. Stack pamphlet number 8 to be followed for air conditioning in explosive buildings. Now let's talk about firefighting. Firefighting scheme is to be prepared as per NBC volume 1 chapter 4 table 7 for non-explosive buildings. For explosive buildings, latest version of stack pamphlet number 15 is to be followed. CIFI's approval for firefighting scheme is to be obtained. If local fire body approval is mandatory for defense building also, the same is to be obtained. Now let's talk about lift. Size and number of lift is to be considered as per scale of accommodation. Speed and dimension of the lift are to be considered as per NBC volume 2 chapter 5A. At least one of the lifts for one pocket of lifts is to be provisioned as fireman's lift. Provision in fireman's lift are to be catered as per NBC provisions. It is to be confirmed that shaft size provisioned in the structural drawing is sufficient to accommodate lift catered. Requirement of shaft size changes with change in type of opening of the car door, that is centrally opening or side opening. During DCS stage, detailed specifications of lift are to be mentioned including shaft size available, car size, door opening, drive type, stops and openings and minimum floor area required, etc. Now I will talk about lightning protections. Lightning protection scheme is to be prepared as per stack pamphlet number 17 and relevant IS code or IEC 62305-1 to 4, which supersedes IS 2309 of 1989. Suitable earthing system is to be considered for grounding of lightning protection system. Now comes the sewage treatment plant. Plan a sewage pumping station, that is SPS, or lift well at the depth of 6 meter to avoid groundwater contamination. The design of SPS must have hydraulic detention time of 15 to 30 minutes, otherwise septic condition will develop. Lab reports of raw sewerage are to be provided so as to analyze the type of treatment to be provided. Hydraulic design of all units must be provided. The BOD of treated water should be 30 ppm for disposal in ponds or rivers and for use in arboriculture. However, it should be 10 ppm after tertiary treatment where human touch is involved. No objection certificate from State Pollution Control Board must be obtained in case the treated effluent is to be let off in open or nala or any nearby water body. For all original sewage disposal works consisting about 250 lakh for Air Force, the CE zone will recommend to E&C's branch the methodology to be adopted for design of schemes, that is designed by consultant and vetted by IIT or NIT, or in-house designing by E&C's branch at the pre-ADAM planning stage prior to processing the AEs. The agency through which the schemes will be designed will be confirmed by E&C's branch on case-to-case basis. Lastly, I will discuss some miscellaneous points related to planning and execution. Board of Officers for serviceability of equipment or vehicles are to be convened strictly as per table B of RMES. It is seen that Board of Officers are convened much beyond financial power as per table B of RMES. BOO convened are to be approved or concurred at the same level. It is seen that BOO convened at lower level are sent to higher headquarters for approval, which is not in order. During projection of requirement of outsourcing of M&O, FGM for DG sets with AMF panel are not to be projected except in critical requirement, in which case justification is to be provided. Thank you. Jai Hind.